Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. Welcome to everyone and all. I invite you to join me to explore the energies today. I hope you all sang. I hope you all danced already today. And I hope that your breaths are deeply fulfilling and magically graced with the drive to live your life fully. And by full, we mean joyful, graceful, healthful, peaceful, abundantful, energyful, full of yourself, full of your love, full of the abundance of grace of the universe. So I will get my intro across a little more succinctly, if that's the way to say it. But anyway, I wanted to come and do the reading for the collective. Nothing planned, but I do want to have one conversation before we begin. It's something that came through. And I'm going to try to share the message as clearly as it came through. But Divine Feminines, be aware that you are, if you're embodying the Divine Feminine energy, some ways that you will realize how it plays out, okay? When you come in contact with your Divine Masculine, all of the ideas that were, it's like all of the, let's say, whatever your limits are, wherever your limits might be, were placed due to a masculine in your life. Or I would say either a masculine placed a limit on your idea, and if they didn't place a limit, then you could have been limited yourself in a new idea, a better idea, and therefore that limits you. So the lack of a proper masculine idea in your life would limit you. In other words, your father should have or should be the person that instilled in you the greatest idea of who you are. Or maybe even the greatest expectation that you should have of a masculine. Your father would have planted that seed for you. So whatever seed your father planted, meaning the best idea your dad could have come up with was the best idea your dad could have come up with. If you didn't have another masculine in your life with a better idea, that was your limitation. So when you meet your masculine, the way it plays out is the clearing that you end up doing, all the clearing in your life comes from the limitations that those ideas impose on you and what you took from that, how you felt about it, what you resented about it, what you fight about it. It's like wherever your limits are, however you handled those limits, determined the way that you handled relationships with other men in your life. Or even with just in life in general, how you handled life in general, okay? I hope you're still following what I'm trying to say. So, your own daughters can play out the embodiment of the energies that you haven't yet dealt with emotionally about those ideas. So if you never if you never learn how to overcome an imposed idea about who you are based on some man's version of who you're supposed to be, if you never reached the ideal version of woman you're supposed to be based on a man's opinion or based on society in general, but you don't usually just listen to society in general. you're influenced by it, but you don't really like, oh, that random person out there in the world said this, so I'm going to follow it and believe it. No, it doesn't quite work like that. It can influence, but it'll influence what you mostly are taught or listened to. So let's say, if your father didn't have very high regard for you in terms of what your values were, if your values were never explored or talked about, or like your family just didn't do that, right? Let's just say at the worst base level, you didn't even have a father. Let's just worst case scenario. Your identity of self is going to be left up to whoever you engage with. And if somebody says, this is who you are, this is what you are, this is what you know. And then if your own identity of self, if you say, I must not be worth it, I must be evil or bad or a mistake or wrong or whatever, however dark your own beliefs of yourself can go because of the lack of validation or the lack of a proper idea of who you are or what you're meant to be or whatever, because it's not there, your reality will confront you with that every time you challenge it. So every time you say, I am good, or I am better, or I am strong, the underlying belief, negative belief of yourself, whether it came by yourself or through others, is going to oppose you. So even your own, like I said, your own daughter can be quote unquote possessed, so to speak, unchecked emotionally, and be a vessel to attack you emotionally. If you haven't dealt with your own emotions properly, because when you do deal with your emotions properly, those energies don't have power over you, and vessels that are limited or open, receptive to those influences that still seek to attack you, Divine Feminine, will find loopholes to get through to you. You could have put boundaries against individuals and ideas that don't serve you. You put boundaries, you protected your space, and you no longer entertain ideas that harm you. You no longer entertain ideas that drain you, drop you, put you in a position of weakness, or put you in a position of feeling victimized by anyone or anything. Because when you are in trust of the Most High, if you want to call it that, when you believe, trust, I don't even want to say believe, excuse me. When you're in the most trust of divinity, of God in you, there is no human form that can destroy that. Therefore, cannot destroy you. You're not receptive to that. Not even from your own daughter. And take that literally or emotionally speaking. Your own emotions will not destroy you when you understand them. So that is the spiritual war. Your Divine Masculine would have been the quote-unquote ideal idea of what a man is and who you are as a woman. That will reflect and mirror what you truly believe about who you are, whether or not he's giving you the validation or completely ignoring or feeding any validation. Do you stand on it or not? And you'll know where the weaknesses are, where the limitations are, when you cannot find the answer to heal the pain that gets triggered emotionally in you every time you confront an idea that doesn't match your reality. So the same goes for the masculine with his feminine. His own sons will attack him. Metaphorically or actually, his own sons will attack him mentally. Or I would say it comes through then the women in his life being emotionally unstable. Let me see if I can do the reverse version of this for the masculine from my own perspective as a feminine. Your own sons will test you mentally every time you're challenged emotionally by the world. And your feminine is the embodiment of how you feel. In other words, the depth of your emotion or how divine the sensation, the feeling of love that comes through you. When you come together with your feminine, that's what gets triggered. How loved do you feel versus how unloved you feel? And the way that your daughter loves you is a direct reflection of how your divine feminine loves you. That unconditional love. You are the brightest light in her heart. But then, when the masculine is confronted with anything less than that, he's being faced with his karmic feminine. And the karmic feminine will test his, is all the ways in which he was emotionally limited. So, however challenged the masculine is emotionally, however triggered he is, however little he can handle an emotional outburst, is the level of understanding of his emotions that his mother provided him. So if his mother provided him a lot of security emotionally, a lot of understanding of his dark emotions, his sadness, his anger, his frustrations, if she was able to teach him how what he's feeling accurately, give him the space to feel it and understand it, actually, because she has an understanding of it through her masculine. If that's the way it works, then he's going to be able to not get mentally overwhelmed by the emotions, and his mind will not, or his sons will not affect him. And he can focus, he can remain focused in the turmoil. So you see that the masculine has to strengthen his emotional awareness in order not to get mentally attacked. And the feminine has to awaken her mental awareness or power not to get emotionally attacked. And when you can reconcile those two aspects within the partnership, which is what the divine partnership does, it helps us balance each other out emotionally and mentally so that we can stand on our own and reflect to one another holistic perspectives. We can withstand what comes our way, but it comes with integrity. It comes with discipline, and it comes with truth. So I hope I explained that the way it came through. Was there anything else I was going to add to that? I don't think so. I think that's all. All right. So let me get my stuff ready here. Let's start with, I don't think I'm going to do a traditional clue reading like I do, but maybe I will. I don't know. No. I think this is, well, you know what? I think we will take all of them. There's a few there. There's, oh, look at that. So we have the Recruit. Why are you surprised? So Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. You might be in a position where you can see who has qualities and where they're best utilized. I'm getting from the movie The Recruit more so not the main character, which is played by Colin Farrell, but Al Pacino's character, which is the recruiter that recruits him into the CIA. In order for this recruiter to recruit him, he had to study him, learn him, understand him, and see what he was actually doing with his talents. There's a psychological understanding of the recruit by the time the recruiter gets to him. So the recruiter doesn't just show up and say, hey, you look like you got some talents here. No, the recruiter already scoped him out, already saw everything that he can and cannot do, already understood what motivates him and what doesn't motivate him, and was able then to apply his own motivations on how to use that to his advantage. And what he did with his power was negative. He used his power for his own selfish and motives or whatnot. So I feel like you're in a position to recruit, so to speak, individuals for their benefit, for the benefit of a bigger ideal or the benefit of a bigger, it's like what you would assume our government is supposed to stand for, right? Whether or not they do, it's every individual has their own perception of that. But the ideals that our country stands on, you expect them to be adhered to by those that are upholding it. And I feel like maybe people are surprised that you have the capacity, that leadership capacity. Maybe you are surprised in realizing that your counterpart was recruiting you for something. It's time to upgrade. I feel like things are being, the truth is being revealed because it's time to upgrade at this time. Possibly the dream world, or we're upgrading the dream world, or perhaps we're creating a dream world. Hoy tengo ganas de ti. So today I desire you. Let me see the lyrics real quick. It's one of my favorite songs. The name Alex, Alejandro could be significant, or Christina could be significant. Fernandez, Aguilera. Those names could be significant. But anywho, let me see. So the masculine, okay, the energy is the masculine saying, I got used to you every day more and more to you. I feel like the masculine was becoming very accustomed to having your energy around. The fact that you both made the intention to have this crazy love, I guess you could call it, or the adventure of a wild love. You came into this masculine's life, and then he watched you leave his life. It was just without saying goodbye. So it was like just the fact that this connection is like so in the wind, so to speak, okay? So he wants to quiero en tus manos abiertas buscar mi camino. He wants to find his path in your open arms. I don't even remember the lyrics right now. I'm like at a loss. Like I can hear the song, but the lyrics are like really, like maybe like the lyrics don't matter so much as the sentiment of. Oh my. It's so deep. It's like I want to feel in your lips like I want the thirst in my lips to like be satiated by your soul. I mean, we're okay. And then there's Noche de Sexo. So it's like the love is so deep on an emotional level, but it's also very passionate, very sensual, very sexual. Like this connection is very powerful physically and spiritually. So yeah, you're both here on a spiritual mission. One of you could be more magician-like, like Piper, a witch, whatever, however you refer to those energies. I don't really care too much for those titles, but let's just say someone that works physically, tangibly with rituals or creating herbs, or like you actively apply. It's like practical magic. And then there's Leo, who's a white lighter. So the roles can interchange between you and your masculine, where you can protect each other on the earth and in the spirit, because Leo is a white lighter, so he's like a guardian angel. So he protects the spiritual realm for Piper to do her spiritual work in the physical reality, okay? And it's similar in your connection with your divine masculine, where your masculine can be a spirit guide for you in your physical life when you're in separation, and vice versa, you can be that for your masculine. So realize that the energies just interchange between you. When you're both sovereign, you can play with the energies. So we have Baño de Luna. I feel like maybe for this upgrade, you're being asked to do a bath ritual, maybe a cleansing, like a salt bath. Perhaps maybe even, like set an intention for, unconditional love, purity, protection, joy, happiness. Consider those things and put them in a bath. Make a ritual out of it. Treat yourself to that, but also keep those intentions pure and keep them. I think we could still work with the full moon energies, or the new moon energies. Why did I say full? Anyways, we could still probably work with the new moon energies at this point. So that's something to take into consideration, just like a purifying for this upgrade, okay? Okay, the weather with Dream World. Maybe consider the weather in this dream world. Consider the temperature. Perhaps maybe put yourself in that space of what the weather would feel like in this dream world. Look, I'm just saying what's coming through. So, I mean, it sounds a little like, okay, why though? Why? I'm not gonna. All right. So get some rest. Get some rest because maybe when you connect with your divine partner, the desire to be with one another is going to be very energizing. It's gonna it gets, or I don't want to say it gets a lot of energy from you, but it definitely it turns up the fire, okay? And that energy can go quickly if you don't know how to manage it well. North. Perhaps your person or you are from the north. Perhaps the dream world, consider the north and the weather. Jeez. So we got the Count of Monte Cristo. I'm going to stop those cards there. The Count of Monte Cristo, when it comes to this, the way I see it is, I see this scene, the last scene when he's at the mountaintop with Mercedes and Robert. Is it Robert his name? Their son? Which is played by Henry Cavill, by the way. So we have the Count of Monte Cristo in the mountaintop with his, let's call him his hand, right? His servant guy he's like, I'm your man forever. It's because he's indebted to him out of like love, there's like this loyalty, which is the same kind of loyalty a knight would give to his king, or the hand would give to a king. You know what I mean? It's, I'm here to ensure that you are making the best decisions. I'll be the person that you can kind of lean on when you need your decisions to be counted on. And I feel like that your masculine is complete, or feels complete. Masculine, if you're the listener, take it as you will, reverse the roles, how they, maybe you do feel that way, so, but it could also be your feminine for you, okay? The point is that there's a sense of completion. All the pieces are there, like the masculine has his feminine, has his son, has his right-hand man. He has everything he needs to now lead his life free of the chains that trapped him in revenge, in having to strategize and having to plot against the enemy. There's such a sense of security and power and ability to move forward now, that whatever challenges do come, they've already overcome such a big feat in a sort of way that now, as a family together, now he's able to. If there was a part 2 in the Count of Monte Cristo, if there's a part 2, it would have been where now you see him living as this count and then building this this world, this reality around his kingship, so to speak. okay? Or his gracehood. With his, beautiful wife, the love of his life, his beautiful child that now, is a beautiful example of him. And then having a loyal, faithful friend that's there to fight with him, support him, defend with him, protect with him, to ensure that his family is safe. Okie dokie. That was fun. Oh, you know what I did want to do? Hold that thought. I brought my books today. Yikes. Why did I leave them so far? So that I can purposely stretch. Stretching, folks. Stretching is so good. Let me just say, please, daily stretches and breathing. There's a reason I say that in my new intro. I want to make that intention very clear. I hope your breaths are full. There's nothing like a full breath that you can take in that fills your entire body, that you can release it and actually feel like you've taken in that very, very deep breath. For a long time, my breathing was so shallow. When you're stressed and overwhelmed and overworked, you don't even realize how tense your body is. You don't realize how shallow your breaths can be, and then wonder why people end up unwell. It's really something that simple. If you can become very mindful every day to really calm the body, bring the body into get it conditioned to a calm state, no matter what's going on. And a lot of times you get so caught up in the hurried life, the hurried, hustle and bustle of your life, that you just kind of get thrown in like in a washing machine. And when you get out, you're like, what in the hell? I mean, all you do is just go to sleep and then wake up and go right through that cycle again. It's like you can go years in your life and not realize that you're just clothes being thrown in a washer and being pulled out, wringed out, and put to dry and put right back in the washer. You know what I mean? Like, that could be your life cycle if you're not, willing to stop, intake a deep breath, release all that tension and all that stress and all that burden and all those problems that 99% are not yours. Or don't have to be. So anyway, I'm going to read from this gem. Okay. I'm just going to randomly select a page. Why? Do I want to do this? Okay, I guess. It put me in the introduction. We were talking about my personal introduction for my videos, that I do want to create one. I know it sounds cornified, but I think it sets the tone for your intention, right? It's important for those that do come across, it's just like when someone knocks at your door, how you greet them is going to basically let them know whether or not they're coming into a friendly environment or a non-friendly environment, whether they're coming, what are they coming here for? You know what I mean? You have to let them know, why are you coming to visit my channel? Well, these are my intentions, and if you want to do this with me, come and join me. All right, well, introduction. Let's just see what it says. The use of tarot cards for doing readings, divination, to give the practice its proper name, has been controversial for at least as long as the occult. Serious study of the cards began in the 18th century. Paradoxically, while many occultists will sneer at divination, most people know of no other purpose for tarot. Many people today still believe the Romani, the Gypsies, invented tarot. Despite clear evidence to the contrary, the connection between the two remains so strong that many women wishing to read professionally will dress in bright scarves and flouncing skirts and gold earrings, balloon pants and broad brocaded vests, and one earring for men, and take names like Madame Sorostris in order to satisfy the public. The long association of tarot reading with cheap theatricals probably explains, at least in part, the contempt or lack of interest many tarot students have shown towards divination. Seeing the tarot as both a diagram and a tool of conscious evolution, occultists and esotericists will automatically dismiss the use of the cards to usher in tall, dark strangers or mysterious inheritances. And yet, by seeing only the abuse and not the deeper possibilities in readings, these occultists have themselves limited the tarot's true value. Wow. Here is author Edward Waite commenting on divination in his book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot. The allocation of a fortune-telling aspect to these cards is the story of a prolonged impertinence. This brings us to an interesting paradox. Because look down on fortune-telling, Waite and others have extended the misuse of readings. The derogatory way in which they wrote about it has fixed in many people's minds the image of trivial attempts to predict the future. As to why they wrote of it at all, we can only guess that they and their publishers assumed the public demanded such an approach. After all, even today, most people who pick up a book on tarot care more about mysterious messages than they do about achieving psychic transformation. Certainly, the best-selling tarot books give the simplest formulas for the card meanings and at the same time promise all knowledge. More important than why they bothered to write about it is the simple fact that few esotericists have done much to dispel the image of divination as trivial. This disregard has even extended to the entire minor arcana. Because the minor cards are associated with readings, many serious books on tarot treat them very lightly, as if all Waite's remarks applied only to the major cards. Paul Foster's Case's book, The Tarot, gives only the barest formulas in a kind of appendix at the back. Many others treat only the major arcanas, or the major cards. Almost alone of modern esoteric studies, Crowley's The Book of Thoth goes deeply into the minor arcanas, linking them to a complex astrological system. As for methods of doing readings, the most important esoteric studies have given only the barest information, a few spreads or designs for laying out the cards with formula explanations for the different positions. Again, Crowley is the exception, presenting a characteristically complicated system of readings via an astrological clock. The impact of depth psychology and humanistic astrology has led many contemporary writers to seek a more serious use of divination. Unfortunately, by treating readings in such an offhand manner, the earlier writers have created a tradition of formulas which modern writers have found hard to shake off. Thus, we still find the same sort of explanations for the minor arcanas, such as, all is not yet lost, good fortune is still possible. Douglas and the same brief descriptions of spreads with explanations such as best possible outcome for the positions. Following Crowley's and others, several contemporary books have attempted to widen the meaning of the cards by linking them not only to astrology and the Kabbalah, but to the I Ching, Jungian philosophy, Tantra, even Central American mythology. Such linking aids understanding, particularly for those people with a previous knowledge of the other system. It would be interesting to see a book about, say, Gestalt psychology, which explains its subject in terms of tarot correspondence rather than the other way around. Still, the emphasis for any careful study of tarot must remain with the cards themselves and with their use in meditation and in readings. This section of the book hopes to give at least a sense of just how complex and deeply instructive a tool tarot divination can be. Sorry I went through the whole portion of the introduction. I won't continue that, but I think it was imperative. That's why I kept reading, because there is a lot of misunderstanding about divination and the tarot and its purpose. I never went into tarot as a game ever. I've in my experience, it was always seen as a spiritual tool and something to take very seriously spiritually. So my mentor that actually gave me the logical understanding of it was wise enough to make that a sort of blueprint that's not set in stone, but it is a blueprint because everything has a purpose, okay? And when you understand the system, then you can go ahead and fill it with your experience. And that's what I was allowed to do, to dive into myself and pull out from within my own personal associations to my cards, which is why I am able to use my clue cards and they can still apply with astrology and the astrological system, like they said, the clock, as well as the tarot understanding of the human psychology, okay? So, there, period. What else? Coffee break. Hold that thought. Okay, so I think I'm going to pause for a moment because I have to check that I'm actually still able to record. If I am, I might just make it a part 2, okay?